Hey guys, I sat down with Shai Matheson to pick his brain about his role as Scar in the English version of Wuthering Waves, the community, the game itself, and any specific changes made to his character. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. Can you just introduce yourself for everyone watching?
Of course, yes. Hi, I'm Shai Matheson. I play Scar in Wuthering Waves, the English version.
And you've been with Wuthering Waves since the first closed beta, since the very beginning. What was your introduction to the game and how did you land the role of Scar?
There's very little that I know or information that I'm given ever, or that we are given. It's not just me. I think it's quite true to most actors. Everything is so secretive and you rarely get any information. And when you do get information, it's usually about whatever you need to know to record a scene. So no one ever tells you a lot about the rest of the game. I auditioned for Scar about, if not exactly, a year before I actually got the part.
Oh.
So I think I auditioned for it. I think it just didn't go anywhere. And then suddenly a year after, I actually didn't know if they, and I actually don't have an answer for this yet. I didn't know if it was because I auditioned a year before or if they just forgot about that and brought me in because another game had come out in the interim. And so they liked that character. And they actually referenced that character that I did as a character in Final Fantasy as something that they would like to dance around the voice of. And then all I sort of got was a few explainers about him being an outcast and him being an agent of chaos in a way, and him, everything that we know him to be, and a lot more maybe maniacal than I ended up playing him as. I listened to my original audition tape recently, and it is a lot more maniacal. And I think we do get a lot of remnants of that are left when Scar goes a bit maniacal, but when he fights, before he fights, when obviously Scar goes like that all the time. So it's that. And for me, there was no difference between the beta and whatever was released, because I think he stayed mostly the same, except for a few costume changes. It sort of stayed the same for me.
You mentioned that about apart from Final Fantasy. Can you tell me more about what character they may or may not have referenced, or that they wanted you to bring to the role of Scar?
Yeah, it wasn't the character itself in the traits of the character, but it was the voice. So I played a character called Lubor in Final Fantasy 16.
If you do not run, you will die.
If I have to sort of think what linked it, it's sort of like he's a little bit mysterious and he's a little bit performative because he's hiding something. And so the voice goes a little bit up and down, which sort of made its way to Scar as well. But and I think it comes from that element of keeping you a little bit, on your toes, or not sure if I mean what I'm saying, or if I am serious, or if I am a little bit insane, or I think maybe some of that came through. But Lubor is a good guy. Don't think we can say the same about Scar. But elements of that voice and that performance sort of stayed.
And that leads on to my next question. In your own words, what kind of character is Scar? Who is Scar for you?
It's what really is Scar, and who really is Scar, I think, is a mystery, and that's kind of exciting. So, I go through on a journey with Scar as well myself, where there was a period where I thought, he's actually not a bad guy. It's a little bit like, there's some people who think Thanos was just doing the right thing for the planet or whatever, but it's controversial. So I don't know that I agree with that necessarily, but he does believe what he believes. And for however his life turned out to be, he thinks this is the best way to go. More and more sort of think, well, obviously there's no excuse for the things that you do, and if you hurt other people, that's never justifies anything, even if you believe in your cause. But there's something about him that I respect, which is that he really believes in whatever he believes in. But yeah, I think he's devout, he's passionate, he is observant, he is very manipulative, sophisticated. Those are sort of good things, I guess, but he's also temperamental, unexpected, maniacal. He's charismatic. He's got to be charismatic because he does get people to follow him, and he does get people to sort of do what he wants. It doesn't necessarily work with Rover. I like that he's not I hope he's not just a classic crazy bad guy. Like I said before, he goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And I think you can even see it, especially in that first scene with Rover, and a little bit in the sort of, the handcuff scene. He tries different ways to get in. He always tries, he constantly scans for an opening. so that he can go in. Definitely sort of more sort of blatantly in the beginning with Rover. He tries everything, and it's not always, he tries to avoid fighting Rover, but Rover is the one that insists. And so, okay, if you want to do that, let's do that. I'm definitely going to win.
We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier as well. Like, how did you approach the role of Scar? Like, you mentioned you had this kind of a bit of a reference with the Final Fantasy 16 character Lubor there. What else did you bring to the role into your performance with Scar?
I love playing characters like this that sort of, you're never sure what they really mean, or you're never sure if what they're saying is what they actually think, or if what they're saying is they're trying to get something from you, on you. So it's that kind of dance with reality, that performance element that I really enjoyed, and sort of dancing around sort of him playing a character, especially when he's with Rover or when he's with other people. And actually, funnily enough, when we're speaking, we've just had this 2.5 section come out where we see him for the first time sort of talk to Furlova. We do see him talk to Furlova in the beginning as well, but it's sort of like there's a little mask drop there, and the voice changes a little bit. It's less performative. It's more actually straightforward. And the reason I'm saying it is because when he is with other people, especially when he's with Rover, he puts on this kind of character and a performance that is there to either get Rover on side, convince, deflect, be mysterious. So it was kind of like playing around with that element of performance and going up to maniacal, coming back down to sincere, and that's really fun as an actor because you get to play around. It's not that I was directly trying to do it, and like I said, there was sort of like a reference. The reference was me, which is weird, but but in a way, he's a little bit like the Joker and Batman. He's kind of like a mix, but that's more the voice than the intention. But he's like a mix of Samantha from Sex and the City and Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is like, "Hello, Clarice," and Samantha's like, sort of seductive. Then he's somewhere in between them in a weird way. Later on, sort of listening to it, I was like, this sounds a little bit like a mix.
Did your understanding of the character evolve throughout the process? Because, like I said, Scar has been there since the very beginning, since closed beta test 1, 2, and now into the official release.
Well, obviously, Scar is, and I'm amazed we're doing this interview a year and a bit later, and I'm very flattered by the attention to Scar. He's only in the beginning. He only appears in the very beginning of the game and in the first bit that was ever released. So as far as we see in the playing of the game, we don't see much of a change. He comes in, wreaks a bit of havoc, and then we don't see him anymore because he's in jail. So there's not much room for sort of exploration of, there's not much room for change in what we've seen so far. Like I said earlier, I've sort of in this year have thought about him a bit, watched clips and stuff and thought, is he just crazy? Is he just an agent of chaos? Or is he trying to sort of do something for whatever he perceives to be the greater good, which may not be the greater good, but what he perceives to be the greater good? So maybe I went through a bit of a journey of going, is he just crazy? Is he just out for chaos? Or is he trying to achieve something good in his mind? So yeah, in a way, that's the journey. And actually, that I don't have an answer for that. And I would love to find out.
Well, there has been one specific change that has been made to Scar, not in terms of the personality, but in terms of design as well, that I'm pretty sure you're aware of.
Yeah.
In Scar's original design, he had a certain design feature around the lower area that has been very lovely dubbed the onigiri by the community.
Yeah.
And it was taken out after the official release. What is your opinion on that? What are your thoughts? What's going on there?
Well, first of all, I love that that's a thing. I love that people are talking about the onigiri. I love that it has the name onigiri, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. I love that. I love that fans of the game are just so obsessed with it. I love the various fan art of the onigiri. Some of it very saucy. So it's an onigiri with a lot of sauce. I really like the original design, and I think it flowed better. It sort of fit the rest of the outfit, and it was great. I liked it as it was. I think, we're originalist, onigiri originalist, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think he looks great without the onigiri. I'm sure it's easier to go to the toilet now But a lot of people, I guess, wanted him the way that they fell in love with him in the beginning. And so people want what they know and want the original, but also doesn't matter. I don't know.
How much freedom did you have to add your own creative, not so much input, but more your own creative flair in like the way you deliver your lines? Like, how much freedom did you have there?
A lot in some ways. So like in performance, I was very lucky. I got a lot of freedom. So I had a lot of input into it. It's crazy that the reference, like I said, the reference was me. So it's not even like I had to fit myself to something else. Yeah, I had a lot of freedom. I didn't have a lot of freedom in the language and in certain bits that maybe I would have liked to sort of say a little bit differently. We had a little bit less freedom then, but with delivery, I had so much freedom. And I mean, as you can hear, and as I've done already a few times, I just got to play around with so much, and I got to, there's a lovely bit in the Grand Library when he's in handcuffs. A lot of the sort of taunting and like the things that he does there that treats the magistrate and treats these guys like they're teenagers in high school. That's sort of just because I felt like, he's performing. He's not beaten, so he's playing with them. And I think a lot of that was sort of a freedom that I was given to just, if you think it sounds good, do it. And then there were a lot of times where I did takes where I was like, I'll just go extreme and then they'll tone me down and then we'll get to something right. And those were the ones that stayed. And sometimes I wasn't sure because they loved all the crazy things I offered. And at some point I was like, I don't know. What's happening? But no, the guys were so up for it. And I was a little surprised. And then it just became the norm and I just did it.
What aspects of the story or script resonated with you the most that you remember?
No, yeah, exactly. That I remember. Yeah, this is a good point.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, and it's so easy in hindsight to sort of pretend to remember. But actually, I did it at least a few months before it came out. And then you don't think about it anymore. Then suddenly it comes out and it seems to have resonated with a lot of people. And so then you sort of look back at what it was and sort of almost retcon it in your mind. So when I did it, I didn't know much about it. I had no idea what was happening in the game. That hasn't changed much. And it's such a cliche to say. I loved the whole shepherd lamb storyline. I loved that. I thought that's quite a clever metaphor. Just in general, I think what resonated to me was more his character in terms of like, the determination, the theatricality, it's that. I think it's the attempt to sort of seeing something special in Rover, trying to win Rover over in whatever way possible, in whatever tactic possible. I liked that. I liked that he was trying to do it for, again, what it was perceived as the greater cause. I liked how that metaphor sort of linked and sort of represents who he is, and as the nickname and the black lamb. And, oh my god, did you notice?
I noticed that as well on the chest. Yeah, like the ram there. Yeah, very nice.
I know. I was thinking what to wear, and then I was like, whoa! Just saw this and thought,
perfect.
It's like the aberrant nightmare.
Yeah, the part with the black lamb was something that I remember a lot of people in the community said like. The beginning part of Wuthering Waves is a little bit weak here and there, but that part with the black lamb, that was everyone loved that. That's what that's where it kicks in. So I think a lot of people really, really like that part there.
I think he's the black lamb for sure. I think he sees himself as an outcast. I think he sees himself as someone that thinks outside the box quite a lot. Yeah, I think he sees himself as a black lamb, and I think he at some point says to Rover, "You and I, we're the black lamb." He doesn't want to follow. He doesn't, or again, what's his performance element? Or he's trying to tell this story to convince Rover not to be a follower. So whether he refers to himself in that story or whether he's trying to make up a story to tell Rover to convince them, is up for interpretation. Or in fact, maybe it's been found out and I just don't know. But yeah, I see it as him telling a story supposedly about himself and possibly about himself, where he sees himself as a black lamb, or he's trying to convince Rover to identify with his story, but actually telling them a story for them.
Yeah, there was a bit of ambiguity of like, is it just an analogy just straight out of nothing, or is it like something like he's putting a specific kind of veil of something that actually did happen? And again, that is down to interpretation. So
It is down to interpretation, and genuinely, I don't know. And I think there's maybe something in the fact that his boss, the aberrant nightmare, the thing he turns into, is a form of ram.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe there is a link there, but that's genuinely me just sort of guessing on the fly. I don't actually know.
What was your favorite scene or moment to record?
Again, there's a difference between recording it and watching it later. I remember really finding the whole shepherd and lamb thing very challenging, because vocally I found that challenging. So I found it hard, even though it's very clear as a narrative when we watch it. I found it hard to know where to pitch him in that story. You know, if his voice does go up and down a lot, then just telling a sort of story like a kid's story, like a book, where do you insert your character? Where do you raise certain points to make a point? You know, so that I remember finding quite hard, and just sort of like, I guess, like reading an audiobook. Yeah, so I found that challenging, but in hindsight, when I watch it, I like it. I do remember that library scene, and you know, when he comes in, there's so few things that we get to see while recording, and that moment I got to see sort of the cutscene in the studio. So I loved it, because it was like a rare opportunity to see him move, to see him in action, to see sort of the cinematics and how amazing it all looks, which I think a lot of people really I love about the game. So that was nice. So I got to see him sort of come into that grand hall, do the whole fight with like the cards and them attacking him from all sides. So I do distinctly remember sort of loving that, and I actually love watching it as a result, because I think you can sort of tell there's like a sense of play there. There's a sense of like scale. The previous scenes are more just him trying to convince Rover, and here we get like a little bit of action and a little bit of like big performance Scar, and give no fucks Scar transforming into the aberrant nightmare and being defeated, but you'd never know he was defeated. He loves that. He loves the drama of it in a way. Yeah, you never get a sense that he's defeated, and I quite like that.
Do you have a favorite specific line?
I like that whole taunting in the end, you know, I can never get rid of your pesky little helpers, something like that, or you're so popular, aren't you? I love that. Not because they're like the lines are that special. It's just like, it says so much about him. It's like a game to him. I do find that really fun about Scar, that he's in one sense like a teenager, like a child, but in another sense so wise and has such a grand scope of events and things, and tries to sort of put the puzzle in place, but reacts like a child or a teenager, you know.
Yeah, very snarky.
Yeah, and takes it very personally sometimes. Not in like, he's never offended by anything, but he's like, he reacts with like his emotions, like his heart's on his sleeve. I don't know about a heart, but you know, his emotions are definitely on his sleeves, or in his zippers, or in his strips of seaweed. But yeah, so it's kind of that, you know, there's a bit there where he says, it does hurt my feelings, you know, and it's like he's putting it on. It's like his feelings aren't hurt. He doesn't think in that level. He's just annoyed that he doesn't get what he wants, which is very challenging. And I love the laugh, and who doesn't love the laugh? But there's a lot of laugh in that scene.
Getting more specifically, we've spoken a bit about Rover here. What do you think is Scar's relationship with Rover? Like, this is your personal opinion on this one.
There's like all these elements of fascination with Rover. It's so easy, and a lot of fans have put it sexually, but you know, fans put everything as sexual, even a strip of zipper on his trousers. So it's hard to tell, you know, because then you go, okay, which version of Rover does he find sexually attractive, if that's a thing. I'm just bringing it up there. I don't have an opinion about it, but I think it's a fascination. Obviously, if Rover is so important and is something that could change the world, or a tool or a weapon that could be used, then it's very exciting, because if you're fighting for whatever cause you're fighting, and there's suddenly something that changes the game, that's incredible. And I think it starts out with a lot of sort of, not patronizing, but like, you know, he thinks he's obviously got the upper hand. He's going to convince Rover to do whatever he wants and convince them to come on side. And then it becomes more challenging, and then actually there's more to Rover than he initially maybe thought. So it becomes a challenge and a fascination, and maybe at some point a threat. I think there's like a grudging respect that comes out at some point where he realizes, oh, well, you're not what I thought you would be. So how do I try this opening now and this opening? So I think he enjoys that game a little bit. It's exciting to have new challenges and something that I think he thinks meets his level, because I think he thinks not many people meet his level, and then he finds something new that may actually challenge him a little bit. What do you think their relationship is? Because I'm curious to know, because I think it also relates to the rest of the game.
Again, this is all down to personal interpretation.
Of course.
I somehow see them as some kind of really weird, either like a rivalry or like some kind of siblingness going on, like the way like just that. Like he's constantly teasing, trying to get a rise out of Rover or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that again, my interpretation is like he's trying to get Rover onto his side, trying to win him over there, but also wants to make sure that he knows that you couldn't come to this side, but I'm still better. Or something like still has this kind of superiority. Yeah. Like again, it goes into like the what you said about the patronizing kind of tones that in there as well. I mean, everyone has their own personal interpretations. Like some people, as you mentioned, could see it more sexually, depending on whether you play as male Rover or female Rover, or regardless. I mean, they're both hot, honestly. But
yeah, of course.
So there's a lot of interpretation in there. What are Scar's motivations, and like what does Scar actually think? Because as you said, it's difficult to get like a pinpoint on like what does he actually, he's saying this, but does he really mean that? And that's an interesting thing about Scar.
And actually that's a really good point as well. And for me, and oftentimes people think, oh, whatever I say, or whatever any actor says when interviewed, what could we take that to mean? And I think some of the frustration, but also the joy, is that I really don't know much about it. I don't know what the plans are, if there are any, and so it's kind of liberating. And like I said before, when you come in, you sort of just get the context for whatever you're recording and not much more. And it's frustrating because you want to know more about it. You want to maybe go, okay, well, if he thinks this, then I'll play it like that. But there's also a big joy and sort of freedom in not knowing. And sort of, I don't know how the story is going to unfold. I don't know what his real motivations were, because we don't know what the future is. And so in a way, it's kind of fun to play it either way, so that it could be either way, which creates maybe a more interesting dynamic. So it could be a happy accident that it is that way. But I agree with you, and I think he does see genuine potential in Rover and genuine importance in Rover. And I think he does see Rover as a little bit of what could be him. He wants Rover to be his Anakin Skywalker. He wants Rover to be like his protege. Yeah, and he's probably very frustrated when it doesn't work out.
Have you been keeping up much since your involvement in like a 1.0, should I say? I mean, we had this in 2.5. Have you been keeping up at all with anything?
No.
Not
with the story. So, but I have, the joy, I finished recording it, didn't think much of it, didn't think, it would concern me much more until the game is released. But because it had the reception that it had, and because, very fortunately, Scar has been so loved or hated, then it's just been so fun to keep up with it, with like in how people perceive it. So more through the eyes of the community.
Yeah.
So that I've been trying to keep up with that. There was no point in me keeping up with the story, because it's so complicated, and unless you play it, I think even you probably couldn't explain the whole story, and you know it better than most, right?
Well, I think I do. Some people disagree, because again, there's a lot of stuff that comes down to personal interpretation.
Sure.
I mean, it gets into like some sort of like weird like alternate realities and like time loops and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, when you get into that part, it's like, how do you explain this in like how do you like condense it into a nutshell? And you really can't. It is a case of you have to play it and really take it piece by piece to understand it.
Great that some different people have different opinions about it. I think that's what art is. And then there is no definitive answer to anything. I think, and the joy of games is like you play and it's your unique experience. Whatever you experience from the game or from any game is uniquely yours. You know, one gameplay on YouTube is not the same as another gameplay on YouTube sometimes, because you know you're going through it, you're exploring this bit, you're exploring that bit, you understand what you play as male rover, as female rover. You know, you make different choices, different answers. So yeah, it is very personal. I haven't kept up with the story, but I have definitely sort of kept up. You know, a lot of my friends that I know from here, colleagues, are suddenly characters and suddenly joined that world. Or, you know, it was originally when it just came out, it was mostly me and Alex Jordan, James Day. We had a little sort of trio because we were sort of the originals that came out in the beginning.
I've seen some images of it. You guys look like you're having a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah, and Karina, of course. Yeah, we did. And it was sort of like, I was really taken aback by the response. I really didn't think that, but like I said, Scar just comes in the beginning and then goes to jail. I didn't think that would sort of stay much. Like, I wasn't a playable character. I really didn't think there'd be so much thing. I don't even think I announced the game coming out on the day that they came out. It's just obviously because no one ever tells you. But I just didn't think much of it. And then suddenly the response was so incredible, and people started sort of tagging me, or it was actually James, I think, that said, you need to look at this because people are really reacting to your character. And I was like, really? That thing? And then suddenly you discover this world and this response and this amazing community, let alone when I did my first convention and people came to say hi, and people were in cosplay, and there was there was incredible artistry like in the cosplay, and just it's so exciting to see that for something that you've done, you're involved with. Obviously, I'm one of the voices. There's many voice artists that do Scar. To see the world of Wuthering Waves grow so much and that community grow, that's really fun. And how people perceive it and what people like. The whole onigiri thing was exciting for a while. I remember I once just took a sneaky picture of me next to an onigiri menu and put it on Twitter, and it was like...
And that leads on to my next question, like, how in touch are you with the Wuthering Waves community? How much do you follow what is being spoken about? It seems that you follow quite a lot from what I've heard there.
I do and I don't. I think I often beat myself up because I think I'm pretty disappointing to many people in the sense that I don't really engage that much. I think in the beginning I was very into it because it came out, it was fresh, it was still sort of, you know, chapter 1 was still relevant, and now it feels like the story's moved on so much that, you know, what am I going to say? What do you think is hiding in his little pouch, or under his onigiri? Like, you know, it's hard to sort of keep up with events because I stay behind and the community goes ahead, the community expands and stuff. So in one way I feel like, you know, I'm not that engaged because I'm just not good on social media, and because I don't play the game myself, I think that puts me at a little bit of what I perceive as a disadvantage, because I have less to share, less stuff to share with the people who do play it. You know, when people tag me and stuff, I'm always excited. I love seeing how people interact. There's some unbelievable artwork that people have created, including Scar, not always including Scar. Just amazing stuff all around this. So I do love seeing all those things. I love every once in a while sort of going in. Usually I get tagged, and so it's easy for me to see. I'm very bad at sort of looking myself, but I love seeing all the discussions, all the artwork, fan art. Yeah, so I do love that. I wish I was more involved sometimes, but yeah, I'm just not great on social media. So it's nice to do things like this as well, because I actually learn so much about it from you, from the questions, from having to think about it. Yeah, and then seeing other friends and colleagues, sort of their interviews and their sort of engagement, it sort of keeps you in the loop, even though I'm not sort of directly always tuned in.
There's still, like I said, a lot of talk about Scar to this day, even before tease at the end of the previous update, like not like this update, like the one before where you just see him like, oh, the Scar there. Yeah. And even before that, there's still like plenty of images of Scar and memes and such. I wanted to show. I've got a couple up here that I wanted to show.
Oh my god, yes.
Just a couple. One is about the onigiri, and this one blew up just about 2 weeks ago, and it's got a lot of attention.
Oh really?
This one here is a girl lying down. We still talk about you here, and this post got 28,000 likes. And
wow.
3,200 retweets, reposts, whatever you call it. Just, again, people
my God.
really do, for some reason or another, really, really miss
Wow.
the onigiri. So we've talked about it a lot today.
We credited whoever it is. That's amazing. I didn't even see this.
Yeah. I don't know if they made this image here, but this is on Timely Scars. Someone posted here, like, wasn't it last month's Scars onigiri death anniversary? I miss it every day. They've actually got the date here. May 26th is when it was like nixed. And another one here.
I genuinely don't even know what the reason is that it's gone. Oh my god, I have seen this.
This one, yes.
That's amazing.
I don't know when this one came out. This has been posted a few times of seeing Scar in jail and like sewing the new outfit, because Jinshi down here, like a chibified version of Jinshi, got a new outfit, and people say, "Oh, Scar was in the jail, like sewing that for her." That's what he's been doing recently.
Yeah, I think when there's something I posted at some point where a lot of the responses were, "Oh, he's in jail making skins for Jinshi." Yeah, I love this. I love thinking about what he would do in jail and would they make him work. This is great.
That's a question though. What do you think he did in jail? How would he spend his time in jail, in your opinion? Because I have no idea. Like, is he just like in there with his cards? I don't think they'd even allow him to have his cards, you know, like card spinning or doing tricks.
Yeah, well, whether they can take his cards or not is a question. I wonder if he's wearing the same clothes in jail. I wonder if he's got some cards hidden on him. It's a really good question. I don't think he'd be working for the prison. I think he'd get like special dispensation. And obviously, the security is not that great, as we've come to discover.
There was this one thing. There was an IRL, like an in real life pop-up event here in Japan, like at the beginning of this year, and I went to go see it. And again, there were a lot of really good things there for the latest updates. But also, they had this big board where all the fans could just get some colorful markers and draw whatever they wanted on there. And some of the art on there was really, really fantastic. Wow. One that really stood out to me that I really enjoyed. One sec, I want to show you this. This is the board with all the different images. There's more on here. This is just because it was that wide, but you can see a lot of the images here. Got Rover, Zani, some of the echoes and such. But down here, this is right in the middle.
Oh wow!
I'm going to zoom in on this one. Right here, you can see Scar. In behind bars, and in Japanese here it says like escape already, like it's been 9 months, escape already. So I really enjoyed this. A lot of people.
So cool.
A lot of people.
How long would it take for someone to just doodle that on a board?
Oh, it didn't take them longer than say 30 minutes, if that. Because I remember
so accurate as well. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, I remember walking past there earlier on in the day, and it wasn't there. Because I rechecked the footage as well. Like, when did that happen? And later on, boom, right there. I'm like, holy, you know. And yeah, very often they just like have their phones with the image on front, and then they're just doing this like all the time.
As if that's easy.
It's not
amazing.
Clearly not. But they're very, very
around it as well. Wow.
They're very, very talented. Like all the images here, like Kalkaro and Phoebe and some other things in here. Yang. A lot of the new characters, a lot of the older characters. Abby, Jinshi in there. It's just a lot of really, really talented people.
Is that? Oh no, I thought those were ram horns on that image there on the left.
Oh, this one here?
Right, that's like a bow. Yeah.
Oh no, those are horns for Zani.
Are they?
Yes, she does have horns. Yes. So
see, I'm so bad at this. But this should be. You should post or send it to me. The world needs to see this.
Absolutely.
The world of Wuthering Waves.
And you got the other side here, more images. Just really, really talented.
That's cool.
And artistic people.
But I definitely want to post that jail thing. That's so cool.
A lot of people are really looking forward to the day that maybe sometime in the future that Scar becomes playable. Who knows? We don't really know about that.
Me too. I'm looking forward. That would be great for me.
I'm sure it would.
I would love that.
I would love to like see how you would deliver certain combat lines or like idle animation lines, and like if there's any changes in there. Like you mentioned before, like he was a lot more theatrical in the beginning, and with this recent interaction between him and Frolova, he's a lot more grounded, for lack of a bit, like just a little less theatrical. So I'd be very curious.
You know how you speak to your parents versus how you speak to other people. I think it's that.
But that leads on to my next question here. What would you personally like to see from Scar in the future? There's personal opinions here.
They would never tell me anything about the future. So everything I'm saying is this is what I would like to happen, and it may never happen. I'd love to look, even before we go into the future, I'd love to see his past a little bit more, and so that we can maybe get answers for all those things that we were saying. You know, what motivates him? How did he get to the Fractidus? Or why does he think the way he thinks? Or does he have a Black Lamb storyline? And could we see that? We almost need like a Disney Plus sort of series, like origin story for Scar. Just a thought, if anyone from Kuro's listening. So I genuinely would love to have a little bit of a backstory for him and sort of see his arc. It would be fun to have a love story for Scar, whether it's with any version of Rover or anyone else. I would love to see, I'd love to see either a redemption story for Scar or him going all out. So like fully blown crazy. Yeah, I think I would just like to see more of Scar. I'd like to see him have more influence or achieving some of his goals, or I would love to see more of Scar. Maybe more outfits as well. Just as a side note, I'd love to see like different skins for Scar.
Bring back the onigiri.
If anyone is in jail currently, bring back onigiri, a full onigiri like patchwork. Or maybe Scar as an onigiri chef. But yeah, it's just maybe like cool new outfits. I'd like to see more of the Aberrant Nightmare.
True. I was always curious, like how does that work, like transformation wise? I think he's like the only character we've seen that has a full blown transformation like that. So I'm really interested, like how does that work?
Me too. I don't know.
We have no idea. I was wondering.
I'd like to see more of what the cards do. Go on.
Sorry, no, it's because I was. The cards are very interesting as well. Yeah. I was just wondering, could you possibly do a reading of an iconic line, like a scene for Scar for me, please?
Did you just offer yourself up to be my prey? Like those things. Are you do you want to be a rule-setting shepherd or a rule-breaking black lamb? And then the final scene has these great ones that I said before as well that I actually do love. Oh, I can never get rid of all those pesky little helpers around you, can I? And then, it does hurt my feelings, you know. You're always so popular. That's a Samantha. That came out as a Samantha. You are one of us, the Black Lambs. And you have been chosen to join us ushering in the new world. Once you discover what you really are, you will come to us with no hesitation. The Fractidus awaits your arrival with open arms, and I look forward to that day in sincere anticipation. Scar's put in jail.
I like the little ad. Scar's put in jail.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Dun, dun, dun. To cap things off, do you have anything that you would like to say to everyone watching?
I mostly want to say a huge thank you to anyone. You know, I think a lot of people watching this just love the game, not necessarily into me, so that's okay. But just thank you to all the people that have shown me and the game so much love in the last year and a bit. You know, like I said, it was a huge surprise. All that engagement and all that, you know, with Scar as a character, regardless of the voice, but also with my voice, the nice things, the theories, the memes, the art, just everything. I'm so excited and honored to be part of this. It's so great to be part of something that touches so many people. You know, I've done so many games, and I think this one had such a special appeal and reach, and this character has had such a special appeal and reach, and I think the community has actually made me love the character even more. So in a way, whatever we have from this point on is sort of like you just we just did there, reading it now, has all of the sort of the past year of interaction with the community. So from now on, Scar is, if we see him again, a creature of this kind of mutual collaboration in a way. So yeah, I that's the main thing, and keep playing and keep petitioning for Scar to come back. Can only be good for all of us.
I agree. Again, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks for having me. I'm really honored. No, of course. Thanks. And thanks everyone for watching.
Again, a massive thank you to Shai. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with him. We talked for so long about all sorts of different things. It was absolutely amazing. He's such a great person to speak to. But guys, what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And who do you want me to speak to next? Because I'm trying to reach out to everyone, but I can only do these interviews like one at a time. So let me know down in the comment section below. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.